Imagine a world just reset, cleansed by water. And from that, well, that clean slate, new beginnings start, new instructions arrive, and ancient pacts are made that kind of surprisingly still echo today. But what happens when even these, grand new beginnings immediately run up against very human flaws, unexpected drama?
Right.
Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take your source material, we peel back the layers, and really try to uncover the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight for you.
And today, we are doing a deep dive into a really foundational text, Genesis chapter 9.
Yeah.
It gives us this fascinating look at what happens right after a world-changing event, the Great Flood. You get these divine directives sitting right alongside some incredibly, relatable human drama.
So our mission today is to unpack the key elements of this ancient story. We'll explore God's covenant with humanity, and then we'll pivot to those surprising, maybe even uncomfortable events with Noah and his sons.
Exactly. We want to see what profound insights and maybe some unexpected details jump out for you from this chapter.
Okay, so we'll be looking at two main sections within Genesis 9. First, there's God's covenant with Noah, the divine promise side.
And then we get into the very human story of the sons of Noah. Each part really offers unique perspectives on the dawn of this new era.
All right, let's dig in.
Okay.
So picture the scene. Noah, his family, all the animals, they've just stepped off the ark. The world is totally new, like a blank canvas.
Yeah, it's quite the image.
And the very first thing that happens is God laying out some pretty profound new ground rules and a powerful blessing for this kind of reborn world.
And what's really foundational right at the start, it's this divine blessing. It's given to Noah and his sons in verse 1, and then it's actually repeated in verse 7.
Which is?
Be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth. It's not just, a nice suggestion. It's a powerful mandate. Multiply, repopulate the entire planet. It's like creation gets a second chance to, breathe again.
And it's not only about humans multiplying. There's also a really significant shift, almost jarring, in how humans relate to the animal kingdom.
Right. Verse 2 says, the fear and dread of you will fall on all the beasts of the earth. They are given into your hands.
That feels like a major change, a new level of human dominion, maybe. Some might read that as total control, others maybe more like stewardship. What does that shift really mean here?
That's a great question. It does seem different from the pre-flood narrative, which felt maybe more harmonious, like tending a garden. Here, after the reset, you see a clear establishment of human authority, maybe a distinct hierarchy, and this shift. It's immediately followed by a really radical change in diet, which kind of underscores this new relationship.
Okay, what's the change?
Verse 3, it says, everything that lives and moves about will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything. Before this, the understanding is humans were primarily vegetarian.
Wow, okay, so that's a huge expansion of the menu.
Monumental, yeah. But almost in the same breath, there's a critical caveat. Verse 4 hits immediately. But you must not eat meat that has its lifeblood still in it.
Ah, okay, so eat meat, but not the blood. That sounds like more than just a dietary tip. What's the deeper significance of prohibiting blood?
Oh, it's incredibly significant. In the ancient world, and certainly throughout the Bible, blood isn't just fluid. It's deeply connected with life itself, the very essence of a living being.
I see.
And the text connects this immediately to the sanctity of life. Verse 5 says, for your lifeblood, I will surely demand an accounting. And it specifies from animals and from humans. It's this powerful statement that life belongs to God, and human life in particular holds this unique sacredness.
Which leads right into one of the most powerful and honestly often debated declarations in the whole chapter. That's verse 6. Whoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed, for in the image of God has God made mankind.
Exactly.
That link being made in the image of God and the direct consequence for taking a human life, that feels profound. It's not just about justice, is it? It seems to set a foundation for how society should value human life itself. It sets humanity apart.
It really does. It underpins concepts like lex talionis, an eye for an eye, which echoes later. It essentially says taking a human life is an attack on God's likeness in the world.
Wow.
And that demands the highest accountability, even extending responsibility to animals in verse 5. It highlights humanity's unique role, sort of like God's representatives on earth, carrying a moral capacity no other creature has.
Okay, so we have these new rules, this profound restatement about the value of life. And then the chapter also lays out this incredibly enduring promise, like a cosmic guarantee.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's verses 8 through 10. God establishes an everlasting covenant. And what's truly remarkable is just how broad it is. It's not only with Noah and his descendants,
Right.
it explicitly includes every living creature that was with you.
Yeah.
Birds, livestock, wild animals, everything that came out of the ark. It's a covenant covering all life.
And the promise itself is huge. Verse 11, never again will all life be destroyed by the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth. That's permanence, reassurance for every living thing. A divine commitment, basically, against that specific kind of total destruction.
Yeah, no more world-ending floods. And to seal it, God gives this vivid, universally recognized sign. Verse 13, I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth.
The rainbow, not just pretty, but a divine pledge.
Exactly.
And what I find really interesting is how the text explains why the rainbow is there. It's not just for us, for humans to remember.
Right, that's verses 14 through 16. It says, whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears, I will remember my covenant. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life. God says he will see it and remember.
It serves as a reminder for God himself. That's quite a thought, that God sets up a reminder in nature for his own promise.
It's a profound theological idea, yeah. That God, in a sense, binds himself to remember his promise when he sees the sign. And it's hammered home again in verse 17. This is the sign of the covenant I have established between me and all life on the earth. Universal, enduring, divine faithfulness.
Okay, so we've got this incredible fresh start, new rules for living, an everlasting promise for all creation sealed with a rainbow. You'd think maybe this new world is set for perfection, right?
You might think so.
But then, the story takes a sharp turn. It reveals that even in a world scrubbed clean, human nature with all its complexities is still very much there. And sometimes it gets, well, messy.
Yeah, the focus shifts immediately to Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, introduced in verse 18. And the text points right away to their future global significance. Verse 19 says, from them came the people who were scattered over the whole earth. They're the ancestors of everyone, basically.
And Noah, maybe settling into this new world, becomes a man of the soil. Verse 20 says he proceeded to plant a vineyard. Seems innocent enough.
Seems like it. But it sets the stage for a moment of, well, vulnerability. Verse 21, when he drank some of its wine, he became drunk and lay uncovered inside his tent. It's a very raw human moment for the guy who just saved the world.
Yeah, definitely humanizes him. And this is where the family drama really kicks in.
It does. Verse 22, Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father naked and told his two brothers outside. The text emphasizes not just that he saw, but that he went and told his brothers. There's an implication there, maybe mockery or disrespect toward his father's vulnerable state.
Okay, so seeing and telling. And how do the other brothers react?
In complete contrast. Verse 23 describes Shem and Japheth acting with what seems like deep respect. They take a garment, lay it across their shoulders, walk in backward, and cover their father without looking.
Wow, backwards, so they intentionally avoid seeing him.
Exactly. Their faces were turned away. It speaks volumes about respecting parents, especially in a culture where dishonoring a parent was a serious offense.
So Noah eventually wakes up. What happens then?
Verse 24 says, when Noah awoke from his wine and found out what his youngest son had done to him. And this leads to a really curious reaction. Noah doesn't curse Ham directly.
Oh, who does he curse?
He curses Ham's son, Canaan. Verse 25. Cursed be Canaan, the lowest of slaves will he be to his brothers.
Okay, that is interesting. Why curse the grandson Canaan instead of Ham, the one who did the deed? That seems indirect.
It's a point that scholars have debated for centuries. Some suggest it has to do with the specific nature of Ham's transgression, maybe implying something more than just seeing. Others think it might foreshadow future conflicts between the Israelites, descended from Shem, and the Canaanites.
Or maybe it reflects ancient ideas where consequences just flowed down generations.
That's another possibility, yeah. Reflecting social structures where family lines bore the consequences. Whatever the reason, it sets up this dynamic where a negative consequence cascades to the next generation, shaping their future.
And then he blesses the other two.
Yes, in parallel. Verse 26, praise be to the Lord, the God of Shem. May Canaan be the slave of Shem. And then for Japheth, in verse 27, may God extend Japheth's territory. May Japheth live in the tents of Shem, and may Canaan be the slave of Japheth.
So Canaan's servitude is linked to both Shem's and Japheth's future success and expansion. It's all tangled together.
Very interconnected, yeah, setting the stage for the future relationships between the peoples descended from them.
And after all that drama, the chapter wraps up by noting Noah lived another 350 years after the flood.
That's right, verses 28 and 29. totaling 950 years. A long life marked by, well, both immense divine favor and moments of very human frailty.
So pulling this all together, what does this deep dive into Genesis 9 really leave us with? What should you take away?
Well, we've seen this powerful story of new beginnings under God's direction, the incredible promise of an everlasting covenant for all life, and then, almost immediately, these complex, very human family dynamics playing out.
Yeah, it really shows that even with a completely fresh start, human nature, its flaws and complexities, they're still right there.
Exactly. These ancient stories, they aren't just history lessons. They offer, I think, really profound insights into human nature, into responsibility, and the lasting impact of our choices, both the good and the bad.
So why should you care about these specific instructions, these events from so long ago?
Well, because they touch on themes that are still relevant, right?
Yeah.
Themes of law, divine promises, the value of life, respect, family dynamics, and how our actions ripple outwards.
Absolutely. And maybe think about this, how a single act, seemingly private like Ham's disrespect or Shem and Japheth's compassion, can echo through generations, potentially shaping the destinies of entire groups of people.
And how even these foundational divine covenants, these huge promises, are set against the backdrop of ongoing human fallibility.
Sure.
People mess up, even after a global reset.
Right. So the provocative thought maybe is, what does this juxtaposition tell us about responsibility, both God's commitment and humanity's choices? Even after wiping the slate clean, the narrative immediately turns back to the consequences of human behavior. What does that say about us, and maybe about the nature of the world itself?